mesmo com as suas placas. Good morning, everybody. This is Dan Stratton at Morning Motivations with Dan Stratton. And I want to welcome you to our show. There's always some glitches on my end when it comes to technology. I'm learning how to use these things better and better. But I want to just thank you. Today's title is called Fully Connected. And as I was meditating last night, some of it was in the middle of the night and getting really ready to talk to you today. A lot of things were coming to my mind, and it was really organized and it was thoughtful. So I was just thinking, how can I bring that in the most organized and thoughtful way to you this morning? But first of all, I just want you to know that you're on my mind. I'm thinking about you. And I want to thank you for staying connected with us and for participating and for pressing forward towards helping other people and doing all the things that you do in a wonderful, wonderful way. So let's talk about fully connected. When I work with people, whether they're business people, I'm a consultant, I go to a lot of companies and I work with them. And I always have to remind these individuals that they're one person and that they're not a work person and then they're a person when they're on their personal time. And sometimes they even divide themselves up even more, personal time with their friends, they're different than they are. And so they end up being not as connected to who they are as they would like to be, which causes a little bit of what I call dissonance or toxicity or just a regular annoyance in your daily system. So being cool with being who you are, wherever you are at all times, really helps you to be fully connected. Because being fully connected with yourself to start with helps you to connect to other people and helps you to connect to other people in a way that adds value rather than subtracts. Meaning, a lot of people can be what we would call, they always are in need. They're always what we might call high maintenance. So you don't want to be one of those people. You want to be one of the helpers. You want to be somebody who brings peace to a situation. You want to be someone who brings answers, solutions to situations. You want to be someone who brings joy. Somebody adds a little pep to the conversation, and you want to be someone who actually makes people feel better whenever you're around. They look forward to having you spend time there and with them, and they miss you when you're gone. So those are the types of things that happen when you work on being fully connected, because we all have different pulls on our lives, different groups and people that have demands. They make demands on us. And so we want to meet those demands. I have a wife and children. I have a church. I have clients. I have friends. I have an extended family, mom, brothers and sisters, their spouses. I have people that they don't make sometimes direct demands, but there's demands just because they're family, or just because I work with them, or just because they're friends, and they're not demands that I don't like, but they are demands that are there nonetheless that need to be balanced. And the more I work on myself to be fully connected, I find I'm more available. I'm not as tired. I don't feel put upon or overwhelmed. And so let's walk through that process of getting fully connected. Even though you're only one person, you're made up of different parts. You have a spirit, you have a soul, and you have a body. Today, I'm going to talk mainly about how those things come together and how you can start kind of a whole life exercise program so that you can make sure that you're not just exercising one part of who you are. One part of who you are. You want to be setting goals for yourself and then working on these goals on a daily basis in 6 areas. You want to set some spiritual goals. You want to set some physical goals, some mental goals, some emotional goals, some social goals, and some financial goals. And take special note to the order of these, because your spiritual goals, really the spirit is who you are. It's the invisible aspect of you. It is the best of who you are. It's where all of virtue kind of sits in your humanity. Oh, that was a deep one. Sorry about that. But it's your spiritual goals are absolutely essential because it's the first step. It's your quiet time. Okay. It is the place where your choices are made. It's really, we call it spirit, but a big part of your soulish realm sits there, and that part is your will, your chooser. It's where your choices are made. And so when you take time to read about spiritual things, think about spiritual things, pray, then you're making a really powerful choice at that point. And that's the choice of what do you want to think about, who do you want to believe in, and what does that God or that higher power, as you might call it, represent? What qualities are in that place? For me, it's the Bible. For me, it's Jesus. And so I have no problem accessing who he is because he told me. He tells me in the scriptures everywhere I look. He tells me straight up, I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you. I'll always be available to you. He tells me straight up, that I can do all things, or that all things are possible with God. So that's a real hopeful kind of a message. And he talks about a lot of powerful things about how I should behave. And so this is the realm of the spirit where you are thinking about those decisions, and you're lining those decisions up with a set of core values that you are aspiring to, or that you respect, that you appreciate. And that's where you want to spend, I'd say 10 to 15 minutes of your day thinking about those. For me, those core values are love, joy, peace, patience, compassion, generosity, faithfulness, humility, and self-control. And so those come right to my mind because I've done spiritual work. And so now, once I align this and I get myself into a place where I'm making good decisions, then that starts to trickle down to the other areas that we're going to try to connect. And so that we make good choices in our physical life, what we eat, when we go to sleep, what we drink, all the things we put into our, and then of course, exercise and getting out and moving. Now, these things become important because if you're in pain because of the decisions you're making, if you're in pain physically, it's going to affect your decision making mentally. So you got to set mental goals too. You got to exercise and learn new things. You have to understand that you are always growing. You can always learn something new. You can learn about any subject you want just by reading and moving that way. Sometimes I meet people who don't read well. So sometimes their mental goal needs to be, learning to read and getting to that place where they can really begin to exercise mentally. It's hard to challenge yourself in the area of problem solving and the world of mental goal setting if you struggle with reading or you don't like to read. You need to be reading. You need to be challenged. Reading a lot of times it's like sitting with somebody else who's thought about the things that you like to think about, and that could be almost anything. Could be fishing, which I'm not a big fan of, but people like to do it. It could be learning a language. I need to learn Spanish. I'm heading down to Cuba soon. Just any area. So let's back up again, starting with the spiritual. When you're thinking about how you make decisions, what you base those decisions on, how you set your goals. And so in that area, setting goals would be for you or to try to get to connectivity is take some time to think about what you think your core values are. I strongly suggest some of the same ones that I gave you already: love, joy, peace, patience, compassion, generosity, faithfulness, humility, and self-control. Those are very, very powerful, powerful core values. And they're also attainable if you work on them. But then every decision that you make, you ask yourself a question according to those core values. You say, well, is there love in that? Does it bring joy? Is it peace? Is there, is there long suffering or patience in there? So you go right through the list on every decision you make. And of course, love is at the top of that. So I try to put love on my faithfulness. I try to put love on my generosity. And so it all begins to mix together as I'm trying to connect it all. Okay. So then physical, you want to be in shape, because if you're in physical pain, you start making decisions based on your energy level and your pain level. And then you start making not the best and highest decisions. And then that moves into your willingness to read. So you want to, the mental goals that you might set for yourself, because you'd rather just kind of go on mental vacation because of the pain your body is in. So you need to take care of that pain your body's in, and you need to get stronger, because the stronger you are, the more capable you are, believe it or not, mentally. And so then you start setting those goals as we described. And the next area is emotionally, right? You want to ask yourself on a daily basis, when you're doing things, how do you feel about doing those things? Okay. Now remember, we back all the way up to the spirit again. The spirit is where you learn to make quality decisions. So now you realize that you can make quality decisions about your physical life. You can make quality decisions about your mental life, what you think about and what you work on. And that now, the fourth area is emotional. Most people don't think they can, make quality decisions in their emotional area. Today is going to be a good day for me. I'm just telling you it is. All right. Today is Thursday. So let me work through it. Today is a day it's my generosity day. It's my generosity day, because every day I take one of those core values and I meditate it. Why am I doing this? Because it keeps me connected. It keeps me connected and it gives me strength. Because if I'm weak spiritually, I'm going to mess up on what I eat. I'm going to mess up on my exercise program. And then if I'm messing up on that, then my mental decisions are going to start to be 2%, 1%, 5% less thought out, because I'm going to have a less intentional approach. I'm going to be a little lazy. I'm not going to want to read that extra paragraph to get that last piece of information to make the most informed decision that I possibly can make. And then when we get to the emotional area, we start to understand how much of our life is based on how we feel and on our emotions. And we start to really get a good glimpse of how somebody makes us feel, how information makes us feel, how how it affects all of our stuff going back the other way, the decisions or the mental things that we think about, our problem solving, our physical. If we're emotionally, upset, or if we're emotionally confused or frustrated, we don't want to work out, and we don't want to pray, and all of a sudden. So that's why you got to get your quiet time, your physical time, and your mental time, and your problem solving time, your learning time, aligned even before you even get to working on your emotions, because your emotions are so powerful, and they will try to boss around all the other areas of your life if you haven't already trained yourself to know for a fact that that you're a chooser at the core of who you are. And I'm going to choose how I feel today. I'm in love with my wife. I'm in love with my life. I'm in love with my work. That's my choice today. And I'm in love with God. And that's where I'm going to start my day from, because it's my choice. I get to create by my choices what I think about. I can't always create what's in my circumstances, but I can create what I want to think about, what I want to work on. And when I work with people in prison, this is a godsend to them, because the only thing they have control over is what they think about. They don't have any control over what they eat, where they sleep, and what they do during the day. They have no control, but they do have control. And when you teach them how to do this, they do have control over what they think about. And so when you start teaching them how to choose, good thoughts, thoughts of virtue instead of thoughts of destruction, right? It just becomes like they're living in a whole new location because they're starting to connect to the fact that they actually are very well developed decision makers, but a lot of the decisions that they're making are putting them in hell, putting them in torment, putting them in a terrible, terrible place because they didn't realize that they don't have to feel the way they feel, that they don't have to think about the things they think about. They don't have to uh, quit on themselves in the area of their physical development. And so, as you work on all those, you're starting to connect up with the truth that who you are at the very core of who you are is a decision maker. You're the decider. You've been given a free will. You get to decide. And all the circumstances of the culture around you, of your environment around you, uh, they're trying to press into that area, but you have authority over your thoughts. You have authority over your words, and you have authority in this area. And once you start exercising and getting strong enough to take that authority, you're going to start to be far more productive. And then after that all kind of works out, that's when it moves into the social area of your life or your relationships. And so then you move and you start thinking about who the maybe top 5 people are in your life. I already listed mine, my wife, my daughter, my son-in-law, my grandson, my church. Now my church has a lot of people in it. And so that's my life. And that's what I do. And that's what I work on. And then I have teams in my consulting business. And then I have individuals that I work on. But those social relationships, those people that I know and people that I love, I prioritize them. This summer, I'm going to spend time with 6 or 7 of my high school classmates. Some I was real close to when I was in high school, some not as close to, but I knew them and liked them. And at one point in my life was close to almost all the guys that are going to come and be part of this. But this is important to me. It's part of my valuing my life and being connected to my past, being connected to my future, and the understanding of, I get to have fun. I get to connect to these things. And then once you start really investing in and appreciating all these areas, and especially the relationships, because if you've got everything else lined up, then those relationships start to really bloom and grow and prosper and appreciate. They get bigger, they get stronger, they get more interesting. Conversations become less about the weather and the mundane, and they become more about things that are important, things that are important to them, things that are important to you. And then you start looking at those people as the same way that you're looking at yourself, as someone who has, a big life, someone who has family, someone who has goals and dreams and aspirations, someone who has accomplishments and failures, someone who's had highs and lows, all these things. And you start to really appreciate and you want to learn from them, which goes back to the mental, the emotional. You want to feel with them, empathize, and you want to hang out. And if once all those things get in line, then you'll start to see that you're not wasting as much money, and your financial life starts to really grow and blossom and bloom. You'll start to see that the way you've invested in yourself physically made you stronger, mentally made you smarter, emotionally made you more easy to be with, relationally or socially put you in contact with the people you needed to know, and then all of a sudden the cash begins to flow. And so it's really powerful. And it all started in the realm of the spirit, where you learned that you were a decision maker and you got to connect to the spiritual entity you wanted to connect to. Now, I'm telling you to connect to God through Jesus, but you get to decide. You get to decide. I made that decision a long time ago, and because of it, I have the fruit of it. good things. I have a great relationship with my family. I'd love to go there. They're far away. They're in Minnesota. I'm out here in New Jersey, and I still get back there. I'll get back there 4 times this year because they're valuable to me. But I'm also strong enough. I'm also physically, mentally, emotionally, financially strong enough to make these trips, to be in these places because I'm connected. And it's not something I do. I don't think about it as money I have to spend. I think about it as, this is who I am. This is who I am. And when I talk to you the next time about connectivity, I'm going to talk about getting past just the goal setting, but I'm going to talk about how to make all of this feel like a breath, an inhale, exhale breath, where you're not having to think about it like a to-do list. You're just everything that comes to your mind. It's just such a powerful and simple process of, yeah, I'm going to think about that, and yeah, I'm going to act on that, and then it just flows into this system that at first was spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial, but at the end of it, it is just you. It's just you. That's the way you are. And that's who you are, and you like who you are because you've worked on it and you've chosen who you are. You don't feel like other people chose it for you or you got stuck with who you are. So thanks for tuning in. You're a blessing. And I thank you for listening. I know I was a little late today. I might have gone a little long, but I wanted to finish this thought. So I just want you to know you're prayed for and you're thought about. So ask your questions, comment back to me, and I hope to hear from you soon. Dan Stratton, Morning Motivations.